been so huge for this team. It feels like the kind of engine for Golden Guardians in a lot of ways.
I love the fact that he pointed out just the idea. Okay, we're seeing the Lucian.
River Lucian,
I feel like the last time I've seen that was in Dignitas, but like great to see from him.
Yeah, I think it's super interesting, first of all, the champions that Blaber is going through. But second of all, that Blaber's on Elise, right? Yeah. He's going to be making so many more early proactive moves. And when we talk about Blaber, it was actually Blaber's Elise that I saw in 2019 in one of his like few group stage games he played, because he was still splitting time with Svenskeren at Worlds. And he just like immediately turret dove, didn't make it out. But I was like, I love this kid. I love the aggression, and if we could see that from Blaber here with a really strong mid pick as well, that'd be amazing.
I absolutely love the Lucian Nami return for Berserker Zven. This is exactly what I was calling for. Get them something with lane prio. This is something they didn't play a ton in the regular season, but they are really, really good at it when they're actually playing well.
And to go back with the bot lanes and jungle being locked in right now, Stixxay, Huhi, been 2,546 days since they've won a title, and there's something magical about finding the right group of players to win together. Cloud9 is going for a back-to-back title, and they have 4 of the 5 members from that team. What's most interesting about this, though, is I feel like EMENES in particular has changed their style. If you were to try to compare this to the Jensen team, they are so much more early game focused. I think they went away from that in games 1 and 2, but with Elise, Lucian, Nami already locked in, they are all in on early game to try and win that second title.
I think on the EMENES point too, against Gori, they are the only 2 people in this matchup to not have a domestic title between them. So it does come down to like who of the younger players is going to have the big moment on the big stage.
Yeah, and we had that conversation post-game about like what changes would you make. I love the fact that C9 are going for what worked for them throughout the entire split of just playing more aggressively in the early game and stopping what Golden Guardians are doing. The fact that we're seeing Blaber alongside the Lucian Nami, as you said, going towards, I expect, following, we've seen that throughout the year. And in the interview with Stixxay, talking about that he was glad that Huhi made this swap to support because of the point that you mentioned, that they've worked together so well and see eye to eye. That's meant that they've been winning lanes a lot.
Whoa, blind Kennen.
There it is.
We all just...
Every single one of them. I mean,
you
you see a Jinx rocket, and you're just like, okay, what's going to happen over there? Ooh, this is an interesting hover, definitely considering the conversations we've had around EMENES, right? He's shown us 2 different styles even within this series alone, but perhaps feeling like sticking with those more assassin, aggressive types, style is the way to play. Croc pass.
Croc pass.
Fudge has a provisional.
There it is.
And with the lock-in, it looks like he's aiming to get it fully validated.
With the Jace ban, there's not a ton of top laners who can take on blind Kennen super easily. Renekton is one that a lot of people feel like with the unflinching and like certain rune choices, you can get enough tenacity that you can actually get on top of him and mess him up, but it does become a bit of a skill matchup.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a flex as well. At least Renekton can work in either lane. So another thing about the body language that we're seeing from Huhi and Stixxay right now is I think Golden Guardians came in with this a little bit with nothing to lose. So many people predicted a 3-0 for Cloud9, so just winning that first game was no pressure. But now that they're a 1-1, I feel like it might be settling in that they have a very real chance to win this, and this game is weirdly higher pressure.
Yeah, C9's draft is so radically different than what they did in the first 2 games. And it is like, okay, pushing bot, we have Elise Renekton, and we have EMENES on the thing that he was just getting constant solo kills in Academy. Like, you could make an entire highlight reel just out of his LeBlanc play.
I love both these drafts. They are 2 early game oriented teams, not about team fighting. This is about lane dominance.
So much for Cloud9. They know what the problem is, and they're looks like they don't want it to happen again.
Absolutely. I mean, they've been getting straight up stomped in the early game. And the craziest part about it that we were just talking about is that Golden Guardians wasn't even drafting early game to stomp them in the early game. So Cloud9 is going to throw everything at the wall here, see what sticks. Trying to draft for winning lanes, trying to draft for early aggression. These powerful combos, we'll see if Blaber can kind of take a page out of River's book and really get aggressive, really get out on the map often and get a ton of ganks off, because that's what you want to see from him on this Elise.
And we know how good of a combination that is with Renekton, setting it up with the point-click laner stun into the guaranteed hit on the jungler skill shot, the Lucian and Nami in the bottom lane. We want to see pressure out of them, particularly around that first item power spike versus this Zeri and Lulu. This is the one sort of don't let it hit 40 minutes pick in the whole game is the Zeri, right? Everything else, there's conversations to be had, not around Zeri.
Yeah, we've had that conversation. And I
It
don't
usually
like how
ends in
turns
a
out.
pentakill and a thread about people complaining about the pentakill. So I would rather avoid that conversation myself, my friend. But let's go ahead and keep our eyes on this mid lane, because so far in this series, the desk was talking about it. EMENES has been targeted by Golden Guardians, and even in the game that they won, he had a lot of recovering to do from the rough early stages.
And while I will say that is true, we also have to give credit to Gori that he's just been straight up outlaning them, right?
Yeah.
You know, it hasn't just been about River and Gori. It's just been about Gori. Gori has been beasting it in that 1v1 and getting significant advantages. EMENES has been good in the later stages in the team fights and making things happen from a deficit, but you have to wonder how much could he get done if he is not digging this big early hole for himself.
And that's why I applaud Mithy, you know, Cloud9 coaching here. Put them on comfort. This is one of EMENES' most comfortable champions. Give him his best shot to go at Gori, because you can't afford another mid-diff like that.
Well, right now, EMENES is feeling pretty good about it. He hit level 2 while Gori was still level 1. He was able to jump forward, get both parts of the chain, and distort back to his origin point before Gori could do any damage in retaliation. He earned himself a really nice trade there. Both of our junglers are clearing out their respective top-side quadrants as Licorice shoves in the top lane, crashing it into the turret of Fudge.
And they just saw with that last little bit of vision, River kind of exiting from the Raptors. He's coming, wrapping around towards the top side as Blaber is trailing.
Oh, this is interesting. Blaber's trying to hunt and see if he's actually on the Krugs. We know the Krugs are already cleared out. This is kind of the danger of this type of matchup is Kennen has to push, which exposes yourself to the gank, to bully, but River is here for the counter gank. He's waiting for this. If Fudge goes in, it's going to go bad for them, I think.
Fudge tries to find the stun. Sonic Wave from River will not connect on Blaber. Neither side taking any serious damage, but bottom lane, it's Stixxay and Huhi again looking for violence. Zven and Huhi both spending those support heals.
It's that trade of heals, but there's more sustain on the Nami side of this matchup. River has got to stay. They need to crash this wave, but EMENES is coming. They've got to know this, so they're going to have to bail out. And C9 should likely just pull back and hold this wave. Don't let the wave crash in your turret. That's the most important thing right now.
Fudge getting back. Melee minion step forward. First melee minion makes it into the turret. Second one does as well. So unfortunately not able to stop the entirety of the crash.
He can freeze. That's why River has to stay around here. River sticking around, doing a jungler's job, making sure that Licorice can get that wave in.
And it's kind of just this standoff up towards top lane because Blaber is still around. As you say, River can't leave until that freeze is broken. There's enough minions there. Fudge couldn't actually thin it out to hold that freeze indefinitely, so it is going to crash. Licorice will get out. So much ado about nothing up in that top side, but both TPs going to be spent here now by the mid laners. EMENES did spend his time going up towards that top side, so allowed that mid lane to even out. We can see the early null magic mantle for Gori. There's just going to be incredible value for Merc Treads against the top side that Cloud9 has drafted.
Yeah.
Roots and MR against EMENES. There's Cocoon, there's point and click stun, so not surprised at all to see the early null come out.
Also does mean that Blaber in the jungle is going to have a little bit of a lead over River because River was pinned down there, had to make sure that his top laner was going to be okay before leaving. And Blaber has been able to do some good things with some early camp leads, but River picks up the Scuttle Crab and will meet him again, ties it right back up. He's got the vision.
I will say the early Oblivion Orb for Licorice does feel pretty strange. Maybe just didn't have enough gold for a Blasting Wand or something like that and felt this is the strongest buy he could get.
Yeah.
But, even in that case, I feel like I'd rather just see him get an Amp Tome and some boots and a pot, right? He's going to need some tier 2 boots eventually as well. And there's not really enough healing on the other side, I feel, to justify it. But Blaber continuing this aggression, trying to push him. We'll see if he can get the smite.
Nicely done.
Oh, no, did Blaber
Yeah,
get it?
Blaber has the blue buff. Blaber was able to steal that one away, but now he's got to get out. Never mind, they're just baiting the Guardians in. Cloud9 ready for fight. It's first blood back to Berserker as EMENES and Gori will continue their square off their 1v1 back here in the mid lane. EMENES with some fancy feet, sidestepping all around Gori's shots.
Cloud9 throw it down. You could tell straight from the draft. They came into this game with one goal. Do not lose the early game at any cost. And they make it happen. Blaber with the cocoon, first blood.
And first blood going to Berserker so big for Cloud9 here. Blaber just keeping up that aggression, pushing in. Golden Guardians wanted to try to punish. They wanted to try to come over there and see if they could make Cloud9 pay for that invade. Ends up them who ends up going down. We'll see if Berserker, is he going to rush straight to Mythic? No, okay, so he is going to do this rated Dirk. This is very popular. Some players will rush straight towards the Gale Force, but especially when you get that early first blood, it's going to be such a powerful laning phase now.
River looking for EMENES in mid. Sonic Wave, resonating strike. They pop the passive, but they won't get any more. Now Gori's got to disengage it. Blaber finds a cocoon. River eats a little bit of damage, but Gori's ready to fire back. Blaber and EMENES both walk back away. Gori's very, very low on mana as well.
Definitely a positive trade here for Golden Guardians, getting the flash out of the LeBlanc, making EMENES a little bit more scared, and Blaber is the one this time around, sticking around to help with the wave.
Yeah, but EMENES is so low. Okay, now he can stay around. Now they got that Nami heal, the Ahri shield. So they bring the extra member, because I was going to say, they're kind of playing with fire here.
Whoa.
And the Ignite is going to be dropped there. That was a small Ignite. He's just dead.
That was goofy.
With 3 people watching, there's nothing the Cloud9 teammates of EMENES can do there. Gori hits him with the Spellbook Ignite.
I really wonder if he didn't realize that he had actually spellbooked over to Ignite, right?
Probably.
And he's just saying, he doesn't have enough damage here. I'm going to snap back before he can charm me because there's travel time on that. Guess what? There's no travel time on Ignite.
Nope.
That thing's going on you.
Gori has just been magnificent for the Golden Guardians so far in this series. And here's another example. Yeah, both junglers, both supports are here, but EMENES wanted the minions, and as soon as he goes in, auto-ignite, Ahri proc, goodbye. Nami can only watch and throw the bubble.
Unfortunately, the bubble doesn't put out the fire, and that means bad news for LeBlanc, and good news for Huhi, who gets a kick out of it. This guy's having so much fun these past couple of days.
You gotta love it.
Yeah, on a final stage with this much pressure, he is having as much fun as you have with your friends in Clash.
Actually, probably a lot more fun. There's a lot more winning than I tend to do.
Depends on your friends.
Yeah.
I know your friends.
Well, Blaber and Cloud9 are going to collect the first Drake of the game. Remember that Drake number 1 went over at 7 minutes in the first game, 6 minutes in the second, now 8 minutes in the third. So still pretty early on average, but this one is late enough that we might have unleashed teleports for the second Drake. That is a very distinct possibility that could change the landscape of the setup in the fight 5 minutes from now.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see, both junglers still not level 6 here. It has been so much about that aggression. River, though, hanging around here around mid lane. EMENES had gotten some pretty good trades on Gori, and he's the one, again, who is on the receiving end of these trades. Has him chunked very, very low, but River now did leech enough experience to hit 6. Yeah. Now you really have to respect the potential of that gank.
And Lucian and Elise, both so very strong in the early game, but Lee feels so much better about hitting that level 6 point than Elise does, unlocking the ult, getting that extra potential for playmaking as they want to find the Renekton and Elise combo, but Fudge is stunned before he can use the Ruthless Predator to lock down Licorice's Kennen. They go for the dive anyway. Fudge has to back away. Licorice goes in to finish off. Licorice makes it a 1-for-1.
Pretty clean from Licorice. He pops the ult early to get off the damage. They have to wait it out, and then he's able to flash and get the trade kill onto Fudge. Very difficult to fight, Elise Renekton. Stories have been written about this combination, and he at least gets the 1-for-1.
Yeah, the 1-for-1 in that situation I think was great, but you can notice, look at Fudge's inventory. This is going to be probably a Prowler's Claw on Fudge. He is going Torpedo Renekton here. It is not going to be that tanky style.
Rift Herald for Golden Guardians, not going to be interrupted by Blaber. He had no HP to contest it. The rest of C9 is not in range to help him either. So Rift Herald goes over to the Golden Guardians side. And yeah, Torpedo Renekton, I love this pick in this game. Blow up one of these guys. There's not a real tank on the enemy squad. If anybody gets hit by Blade of the Ruined King, Prowler's Claw, Renekton, you can 100-0 these dudes.
All right, we might have a repeat gank from Elise back towards this Kennen here, because if you account for the Rift Herald in the aftermath as well, due to the teleport mismatch and Blaber being chunked to 50% health in a tower dive, that tower dive was more beneficial for the Golden Guardians, getting the trade kill and the Rift Herald for themselves, and the Rift Herald is in the hands of River, who can move it to the other side of the map.
Just look at how much vision there is on this top side. Look at this line of wards across the middle, another one here. This line of wards around that bot side River as well. Golden Guardians are well aware of what Blaber's job is in this game, and they're investing heavily in keeping both sides of the river really covered to shut down any opportunities for these ganks. They're making his life really difficult.
C9 again, gonna look to see what they can accomplish with a jungle invade. They'll step up, put down some vision, pop the Scryer's plant just to get extra information, but Golden Guardians will not lose anything from it. Stixxay farms up the minions down there at the turret. He's very slightly behind Berserker's Lucian, but we're still not at that Lucian Nami first item power spike that makes him so scary yet. Nice charm into the follow-up there from Gori to chunk him in S in mid.
I just love watching all the time. Pro player reads on dodges, you know, and Gori so far has been so accurate with it. Finds him on this one. Yeah, it's just a bit of a chunk of health, but getting that read on your 1v1 opponent can be so huge.
Oh, EMENES jumps in after River, who has a nice Dragon's Rage to knock him away and knock Blaber up into the air with that disengage to make sure neither enemy player can stick to him and hunt him down.
Exactly, found the angle and now finds Blaber!
Beautifully done, right out of the fog. Along came a spider and she has to scurry back underneath that tier 1 turret.
Golden Guardians are still coming, even with the turret there, making him run to the other half of the map. Meanwhile, Berserker does trade out his ulti.
Stixxay's not done. He rides the wall to continue the chase as Zven tries to stop him with the tidal wave. Bubble right back onto Stixxay, but now he receives the wild growth to make sure there's no danger. Golden Guardians want to get this shoved up. Gori's in trouble, avoids the damage from the chain, but the CC and the follow-up from Blaber is there, or is it? Blaber gets the kill, but it was really close.
Perfect timing on the cocoon from Blaber there, allows him to finish off that kill. They finally get a Cloud9 win in the mid-jungle 2v2.
Yeah, was Herald dropped top? You know, previous to that, it must be, because look how low the turret is all of a sudden. So he must actually drop that Herald top. But they get that crash. Fudge had to pop the ulti, just hold the tower there, and now is going to have to probably back off unless he has some assistance coming, because Licorice still has his ultimate. And this turret is going to be going down. That should be first turret gold solo to Licorice, and that is going to be a big chunk of gold here.
So much gold in the pockets of Licorice here in the top side. Golden Guardians taking that first turret. The next objective on the map is spawning right as it falls. Second Drake of the game is up now. Nobody around there just yet. Remember, this is what I talked about earlier. Less than 1 minute from now, our teleports become unleashed and the fight gets a lot more interesting. However, when we look at teleport cooldowns, Fudge is down for a long time. Licorice and EMENES will both be ready to go again soon, and Gori currently has exhaust on his summoner spellbook.
And as I was highlighting, it's the one-item power spike for Berserker and Zven. Mandate is done, Gale Force is done, so this really is a super strong point of the game for that C9 bot lane.
And that's why you can see Golden Guardians have clearly made the call. Do not fight on one-item power spike for Cloud9 bottom lane. Give up the dragon. It's just a Cloud Dragon. Nobody overextend. Licorice has a massive lead on top side with the Rift Trail taking down that turret, and just keep the Kennen split pushing up there. I will also say this game is going to remain exciting because there are 0 tanks in it. So it's so much potential for picking people off, bursting people down even under tower.
Look at that damage from Berserker's Lucian.
I mean, this is kind of League of Legends you'd love to watch, where it's going to be all about execution here. Who can hit those skill shots? Who can make those plays happen? Because anyone can be picked off.
Nice. They go in on Blaber to burst him down, and River gets the kill. Both sides thought they had the better situation, but it's Golden Guardians who strike first.
When there are no tanks in the game, vision is at a premium, because initiative in these skirmishes means everything. You get to open up with your combo, then there's no coming back from that. Really nicely done from the Golden Guardians. River in that rush there is able to get the combo, kick him back into Gori, and they get the kill. That was a shutdown as well. Little baby one.
Yeah, nice sidestep there from Gori. And while Golden Guardians are winning out around mid lane again, it is Cloud9 on that bottom side that are pushing in. They're going to deny a full wave. They're chunking down that tower. It is a cannon wave, and no one's there to actually receive it. So unless Licorice is keeping bot, which he won't, you're going to lose that full wave. And they forced out the Bear and the ulti with that Gale Force activation from Berserker. So nice aggressive play there.
I think this game is going to have to be a game where Berserker shows why he was voted MVP for Cloud9. This is a big, big advantage. This is their big advantage to try and wield in this game. Right now, with the Lucian Nami on a power spike, they rotate him up into the mid lane here. Rift Herald number 2 is about to arrive on the Rift.
Yeah, and we'll see if they want to fight for it. Most players all have their mythics done now. It is just Blaber that is missing his out of the 4 core on both sides. Even the supports having theirs done. Prowler's clock completed as well. You know, Fudge is going to have be perfect with his execution. You don't have really any breathing room to make mistakes when you are playing this style of build. You are not playing Gore Drinker Sterix. You are not tanky whatsoever. You got to get in there, execute that combo perfectly, and one-shot someone, because you're going to die in a hurry.
Exactly. You know that it's a one-way trip. Your job is to take someone more valuable than yourself with you. It's Golden Guardians with control over this topside river as the Herald spawns for the second time this game. Gori gets a little bit of poke onto Berserker there with a charm, but Berserker is healed back up by the Nami. It's EMENES in bottom lane, and it's Cloud9 not fully committing to this. Golden Guardians will secure the Herald without a fight.
Yeah, Cloud9 are just fishing around, allowing the split push solo tower there for LeBlanc. Maybe there's some poor positioning from Golden Guardians that allows Blaber to get a sneaky smite in or something, but they don't want to overextend and let any kills go through. So they sacrifice Rift Herald number 2 for the outer tower solo gold for EMENES.
EMENES now needs to retreat away as Gori approaches. Stixxay eating a full culling. Berserker with the Gale Force execution. You wanted to see the MVP? There he is.
Right on your screen, and Licorice trying to escape from Fudge, but the Prowler's Claw follows.
Prowler's Claw to keep him on top of the vulnerable enemy laner, and Blaber shows up to guarantee it.
And that was beautifully played. It's one of the reasons why it can work in a matchup like this. Fudge slice and dices in, gets stunned up by the ulti, and normally that would be the end of it, but he has one more gap closer with the usage of the Prowler's Claw, catches right back up to him. Cloud9 get wins in mid lane, get wins in top lane. It felt like every single bullet from Berserker went right into the back of Stixxay on that one. He tanked it up fully. Wanted to hold on to that flash, but those Gale Force executes. Gotta watch out for him.
Ask and you shall receive. Sorry, Golden Guardians, for the little Berserker buff. Now it's gonna allow them to push right back out though. They do get the reset. Zeri getting a first push in mid lane. Gori trying to get a little bit of damage done here on the bottom side, but it's not gonna be anything bigger than deep red quadrant wards. Good pan here from the observers. You see River stealing away Raptors and the triple ward from Golden Guardians to see about any further setup. Gori does have ulti.
EMENES not going to force the ulti out of Gori. Gori knew that there was not enough follow-up nearby to actually threaten a lethal situation.
Yeah, EMENES had already used his ulti there, so didn't have that second chain. If the second chain was available, maybe would have been able to actually force that ulti in retreat, because that would have given time for Fudge to come back. But here it is one more time. This is that mid-game spike you can play around. Mandate, the speed up from the W. I think he hits legit every bullet here. That is just really well played by Berserker. Wait till that final moment as Stixxay tries to flash out. Gale Force execute. Those bolts are coming for you.
They certainly are, and look at that, still focused.
His only reaction is, I need to adjust my headset. This guy,
because he knows the zone. He knows job's not done. They've got a lot of work to do here.
Golden Guardians summoning up the Herald in mid lane, bringing in the teleport as well. Gori wants to come in from behind. Golden Guardians looks for the angle. Everfrost onto 3. The engage comes through. Gori goes back over the wall. Now rejoining the rest of the Guardians as the Herald collides into the tier 1 turret. Golden Guardians go for the move, but they don't get anybody.
Watching the game between the Ahri with multiple ult charges and the Prowl. Oh!
River, he gets jumped on. EMENES kills the enemy jungler, and it's C9 who picked the man they need to pick.
That is big right with Dragon there to grab as the follow-up prize here. They get that big kill on the enemy jungler. EMENES wants more!
EMENES flashes early to guarantee the root on the chain, but Fudge can't get there in time to follow it up and get the kill. Now Licorice and Gori can chase them back away, but since C9 already took out that tier 1 turret, they have a safe exit route, and they have Soul Point.
Yeah, nice defensive Everfrost there from Gori to put that flash LeBlanc play right back in the ground, but it's still gonna be the Dragon here for Cloud9, and this time around it is them quickly stacking 3 dragons already, only 19.5 minutes into the game.
That initial engage, though, from Gori, while it didn't get any kills, did force out a couple summoners. It was a heal from Zven, the cleanse from Berserker, a flash off Blaber as well. Had a multi-man Everfrost, which was really nicely placed. But Licorice couldn't quite close the gap in time to really follow up on that. If Cloud9 had been slightly further forward, I think Licorice could have found an angle to maybe kill them all, but they were close enough to the tower, they respected the engage, spent the summoners, and kited back.
Okay, Golden Guardians, you're down about 1,000 gold, but it's the Drakes that are the big problem at this point in the game. Licorice face checking the LeBlanc, tanky enough to not worry about the immediate burst, but now Fudge is coming up too. Licorice tries to disengage, but Blaber's coming in to catch him. He repels up to close the gap as Licorice uses Slicing Maelstrom defensively, but he won't take the jungler with him. EMENES gets the kill, and Cloud9 get a 5v4 for 35 seconds.
Pretty good timing too if you look at the wave states. All that Zven and Berserker have to do is play defensively here. They are giving up the side push to Gori, and now Ahri with that line of minions is really chunking down the turret, but teleport is expended to ensure he doesn't get any gold yet.
And he used the charm, so EMENES knows that he can jump after the Ahri, apply that damage, scare him back even further.
Meanwhile, they kept Fudge on top side, so Fudge also chunking away at this turret, and he should be able to finish it here. So Cloud9 They make the long play. You saw the mini-map right before they make that play. 3 pings down that long lane, calling it, saying they're going to bring 3 people, chase this Ahri to the ends of the earth, and they get an objective in addition to the kill.
And it looks like Fudge might be actually making his way towards Force of Nature, which is going to be really, really efficient, against this enemy team when you're thinking, okay, double AP soul laners. Zeri actually has a fair bit of mixed magic damage, and Lee even has a little bit of magic damage in there too. So there's no true, pure physical damage threat.
I love it. It's going to be the most mobile crocodile you've ever seen. With the Prowler's Claw mobility as well as the speed from Force of Nature.
C9, they find some damage onto River, but not enough. Considering they're down 3v4, Fudge gets a solo kill on Licorice in the bottom lane.
With the flashes expended, I kind of wanted to see the rest of that one. That was spicy. Prowler's Claw active was just used. And the flash for both of them pretty important, but in the end, another tower for Cloud9. Backs against the walls. They got beat in the early game in the first 2 games of this series, and they're not letting it happen again.
Absolutely. This is by far the best start to a game Cloud9 has had, and there's the Force of Nature completed off that. The early chunk was heavily in the favor here of Licorice, and he tries to kite it out well as this ulti is popped, but I assume Slice and Dice Prowler's Claw more than enough to actually close that gap.
Yeah. He was able to chunk off the bone plating as well right at the beginning, so then he got the full combo off without the bone plating reduced damage here. Follows it through with the flash for flash.
And the Force of Nature now completed exactly like you were talking about, Isaac.
Yeah.
Scary stuff. If you're trying to deal with this crocodile, he's very resilient now to the damage of both those solo laners and can continue to disrupt in these fights. Stixxay is having a tough game as Licorice tries to get away from Blaber. Slicing Maelstrom used defensively. Berserker kills him in the air, and Cloud9 keeps the gravy train rolling. River's gonna die next, and Berserker gets a double kill.
But look at Gori, he's below Zven, who is chunked low, doesn't have enough left to actually go in and finish him off. So Cloud9, they can head up potentially to Baron. Looks like there's pings over onto it. They want to try to look for this with River dead. We're only 23 minutes in.
River is dead. There is no ulti on the Ahri. There is no ulti on the Lulu. There is no vision around the Baron pit. Cloud9 has a very good setup here for this, as Golden Guardians have no way to even get close. Not only is the setup for this objective good, but notice that timer in the top left corner of your screen. They can't get anything back on Golden Guardians' side, and now Cloud9 will reset and be ready to fight the Mountain Soul.
This looks like the Cloud9 that finished first in the LCS. Licorice, though, he dodges the cocoon, goes in, he gets chunked out very heavily, and EMENES plus Berserker with the Gale Force follows it through to kill the little Yordle as he's blast coning away. Then they chase through. Zven with the Nami ultimate here knocks up the other one, and they chase it down. Now it is Golden Guardians that have the objective bounties up because they are so far behind.
And Huhi is way out of position behind enemy lines. It looked like he was down there with Stixxay. So there's actually 3 of them. They're going to try to set up a full flank potentially. But if Cloud9 suss this out, they could actually just attack the other side.
Zven pops the blast cone there. If he would have walked any closer, that sweeper might have seen one of the silhouettes of the Golden Guardians waiting in the brush. EMENES using the Baron-empowered minions to take down the last little bit of HP from that tier 1 turret in the mid lane. Cloud9 with total control over the Drake. Golden Guardians retreating, deciding to give the soul at 25 minutes.
And I think their read was, if we can get a pick, we can maybe take a 5v4, but because no one actually face-checked that brush, no one came down into the jungle to clear out those wards, well, it's not going to happen. So they have to just give it over, and now your job becomes that much harder with these Mountain Soul shields on Cloud9. Look at EMENES!
Look at Licorice. You can't. He's gone. He's dead. 45 seconds of a 5v4 for C9.
Now you see him, now you don't. And Cloud9 with the Baron buff, they can really push. They want to end this game very quickly. 25 minutes inside the base. How do you stop this LeBlanc? It's only like a polymorph from Huhi that EMENES really has to worry about.
EMENES having a very nice game here so far. 2-1-3, absolutely fearless on the LeBlanc this game, as now they find some CC on Huhi, some burst on River, a kill for Berserker, and no counterpunch for the Golden Guardians. Stixxay's about to die, and EMENES writes his epitaph as Gori retreats back to the Nexus turret. The inhibitor falls bottom lane. C9, 5 men strong versus only 3 Golden Guardians left standing. Gori is eviscerated, and Fudge cuts him in half. Now C9's just looking to end the game, but River and Licorice are trying to defend. Second Nexus turret falls. Golden Guardians still have to try to keep fighting. River and Licorice versus the world. River's very low. Berserker's determined to just kill the Nexus. And Cloud9 go to match point.
Cloud9 say anything you can do, I can do better. Golden Guardians closed it out in 28 minutes last time. This one, only 26 and a half. Cloud9 put all their eggs in the early game basket, and they executed big time.
That basket's pretty full in this series, all early game, all the time. Cloud9 here, not showing any signs of stopping. I have to say, Berserker, I asked, can we see the MVP right now in this game? And he delivered. No deaths on the Lucian, massive 1v1 plays, 2v2 plays. He never lost a step.
And I've got to say, it's a really fun and refreshing finals to watch. You know, from the LCS perspective, so many of our top teams over the years have been more towards late game team fighting, you know, Ornn, you know, King of NA, that type of style. Both our teams are just straight up going at it in the early game and executing on a really, really high level. It's an exciting league to watch.
We got to see Prowler's Claw Renekton too. Even if you're picking a champion that is played as a very standard meta pick, Fudge is playing it in the aggro way that says, hey, let's snowball this early game into something more. He was getting solo kills in the side lanes. EMENES was having a highlight reel. Golden Guardians, they had some good plays. Some of the 2v2s around mid that they were able to win, get the burst down faster, but they just couldn't deal with what Cloud9 brought to the table with this massive early game comp. But now they're going to have to, because Cloud9 are on match point after that Game 3 win. And we're going to head on over to the LCS Lounge to